Welcome to the Boom Bap Kingdom. Yo, peace and welcome to the Boom Bap Kingdom. We're here, we're chilling. It's the end of the year, 2024. Very, very interesting year. A lot of stuff dropped. I have my personal favorites and I'm going to share that with you, not in any particular order, just a quick list that I compiled, the samplers that dropped for 2024, why I kind of like them and why they might make a great choice for you. So let's get into it. No particular order. I don't have all of these samplers that are on my list, but these were samplers and sequencers that were on my radar for 2024. A couple of them I do have. Let's get started. Top 5 samplers for 2024. Let's check it out. Number 1, the Akai MPC One Plus. That is a good machine, a great sampler, especially if you're a beginner and you're new to standalone beat making. I think that's a great place to start. Some of those features include Wi-Fi, Bluetooth connectivity, obviously MIDI. You have your 16 velocity pads. Those are RGB pads, so they're going to light up red, green, blue. That's really, really good. You have that 7-inch multi-touch display. That's going to come in real handy when you want to edit samples, when you want to move notes around. That's really, really good. They give you that encoder knob. You get your transport controls. You're going to get your TRS audio ins. You're going to get your main outs. Those are 1/4-inch jack as well. They give you CV gate jacks, etc., etc. You're going to get 2 gigs of RAM. Take some of the burden off that CPU, and you get 16 gigs of internal storage. I think the MPC One Plus is definitely worth mentioning as a contender for one of the 5 best samplers of the year. That MPC One will run you a smooth $699 US. Number 2 on my list, it's going to be the Electron Digitakt 2. That's a beast. 128 step sequencer. Obviously, you can perform in real time on that sequencer. It has 3 assignable LFOs per track. That's really powerful. You're going to get a plethora of effects, delays, reverbs, choruses, bit reduction, sample reduction, something that they call overdrive. You get overdrive per track. They also include a Euclidean sequence generator. That's pretty dope. I am an Electron owner. I own the Octatrack Mark II, and I'm telling you, it's a beast. I did not pick up a Digitakt 2, but I have a partner, 7th Touch, shout out to him, Abstract Rhythm Cafe. He picked up a Digitakt 2, and he does really enjoy working on that unit. You have swappable filters, 1 bass width, multi-mode, low pass, you have comb, EQ, legacy low pass and high pass. Very good on the filter mode that they give you, or the range of filters that they give you. Very powerful. 4 trig modes. In the Electron world, a sample or a sound is a trig. So that's, their spin on it. But they give you 4 different modes for, they have song mode on there, etc. And what I have found in my own research as well, one of the things that's interesting about it is the sound is a higher fidelity than that of the Octatrack Mark II. It's a 24-bit unit, whereas the Octatrack Mark II is a 16-bit unit. And that bit depth does make a difference. I know that the OT2 is very warm and punchy, whereas the Digitakt 2 is a more higher fidelity. You're going to get that clarity more on the high end side of the sonics. With all of that being said about the Digitakt 2, that will run you a smooth $999 US. Number 3 on my list, not because it's any less or more, so greater or lesser than the other previous 2. Just how I compiled the list. I do own this unit, one of my favorite samplers of the year, and that's going to be the Polyend Tracker Plus, a pure beast. What can this thing do? It has a 16-track drum machine, more of a sound designer, so you can design your own drum samples. I would put that more in like the 808, 909 realm based on sonics. So if you're into electronic drums and you want to design your own, Tracker Plus is a great place and great way to do it. It has a synth engine that features 6 different synthesis modes. You have ACD, VAP, etc. All of that is in there. So if you want to generate your own synth sounds or use their presets, you absolutely can. It's a 16-track sequencer. 8 of those tracks would be audio, the other 8 would be MIDI. Those 8 MIDI tracks are really dedicated to their drum machine and their synths, whereas the 8 audio, you can do either or. So you can do audio samples, or you can put a synth on one of those audio tracks if need be. I could tell you that the sequencer is really in depth, especially when we get into the effects. So there are multiple effects on the unit. You have like 2 effect sends, and then you also can put effects on individual steps within a sequence, which I think is extremely powerful. And that is something that I leverage quite a bit. The sample editing is really good. It has that large jog wheel, so you can move around on there really well. They give you, you can do slicing and beat slicing, etc., etc. It has that vertical, top down workflow, although it can be switched to a left right workflow. Either way, you're still going to get that classic tracker look where, people call it a spreadsheet, like an Excel sheet. It does have that look, but it's not really intimidating. There is a slight learning curve on there, but one of my top favorite machines of 2024, and that one will run you anywhere from $720 to $800 US, depending on where you get it from. Now, my number 4, which is one of my absolute favorite machines to work on, is the Lofi-12 XT from Sonic, where, man, I'm telling you, that machine is bananas. I really enjoy it. If you're one of these producers that you're considering maybe an SP1200, an SP1200 clone like the S2400 or the soon to be released MKS Rec 1, but maybe you don't have that budget, you can get that classic sound with the Lofi-12 XT, and you could save a lot of dough. It's punchy, 8 tracks, lo-fi sampler, groovebox, can do 12 kilohertz and 24 kilohertz, 16-bit mono sampling. It's super punchy, warm. It has that built-in microphone. It has TRS sampling input and USB sampling input. Very good. Storage is pretty good. 256 project slots, 256 samples per project. That's really good. You get your real-time sample editing, 20 voice polyphony when you're in chromatic mode. So if you hit that pad button, you load a sample, hit that pad button, you could play out 20 voices, which is pretty good. It has pretty good sample editing, slice modes, etc., etc. It's pretty good. It has a couple of LFOs, plus amplitude, filter, pitch. They just updated the pitch in that recent firmware update where you can get to semitones, which will bring you to the pitch you're looking for a lot faster than the previous mode. The previous mode, it was a little cumbersome. They updated that. Pitching is great on there now. 128 steps in the sequencer with 128 patterns, 16 songs per project. One thing that's super dope about the Lofi-12 XT is the micro timing, where you can move your notes around micro steps. There are other samplers that can do that, but within this price point, that's pretty impressive that they included that. The effects are pretty good. I do leverage those effects, quantized and unquantized recording. The swing is pretty good on there. They do have step sequencing. Their step sequencing is pretty decent. It's not as robust as, say, Tracker Plus, which is extremely robust in their step sequencing, but it is definitely something that you can leverage in the Lofi-12 XT. They have one insert effect per track. They do have a pattern mode and a global mode, which is very interesting to play around with. Global obviously will affect all patterns. Pattern mode with your effects will just affect that particular pattern. So there are some slick ways you could work around the limitations on the XT. I own one. One of my favorite machines has that mixtape recording feature where it's just constantly clocking what you're doing in the background, similar to skip back mode on the Roland SP404 Mark II. But I think that the mixtape recording mode is a little bit more robust because it allows you to set the sonics that you wanted to record in, which is really, really cool. Comes with a 32 gig storage card. You could put up to like 2,500 samples on there. When I purchased mine, it came with a Samsung card, which is really good. There you have it, Lofi-12 XT. There's two iterations of that device. There is the all black unit for $399 US, and then there is the retro edition for $429. The last unit I will put on this list, and that's going to be that Ableton Push 3 coming in at number 5 on my list. What more can you say? It's a beast. Standalone, which would be my preference, that's going to give you Ableton Live intro. It'll come with that out the box. It's going to include an 11th gen Core i3 CPU. It will include 8 gigs of RAM. Now, currently on the market, based on my research, that Gen 3 CPU with 8 gig of RAM will put the Push 3 at the most powerful standalone sampler currently available. So we'll see what Akai does if they do a Force 2. But right now, because Force 2 would really be the real competition to Push 3. Akai hasn't announced that. I'd be surprised if they don't make one. It includes an internal battery. You'll get about 2 to 3 hours of battery time. The Lofi-12 XT, you can install your own AA batteries and you'll get whatever time you get on those. The other units I mentioned do not come with an internal battery, whereas Push 3 does. It will also come with a 256 gig SSD hard drive, which is pretty dope. So that's one less thing you'll need to buy if you go with the Push 3 standalone. You know, USB-C connectivity. You can use it in standalone or with Ableton Live as a controller, and it's MPE capable. So those pads are going to give you that MPE if you really want to get into expressive play based on touch, etc., etc. And the caveat for me with the Push 3 is that live intro is really not going to give you enough power to really crank out full-on compositions. You're probably going to have to update to Live Standard or Live Suite. Standard will run you about $439 US. Suite will run you about $749 US. That is on top of the price for the hardware for the unit itself. So that rounds out my top 5 samplers of 2024. There are some honorable mentions, but honestly, on this list, I put what I was most interested in, what I either bought or considered buying in 2024. So there you have it, the Boom Bap Kingdom's top 5 samplers of 2024. Get in those comments. Let me know what you guys bought in 2024. What was your favorite sampler and why? If you like it, if you didn't like it, get in those comments. Let me know. Don't forget to check out www.theboombapkingdom.com for all your sample packs, drums, merch, etc., etc. Cypher Dialect, that project is streaming right now. We have 3 singles out. New music is dropping. The new Boom Bap Kingdom beat album, Chopping and Bagging, is coming out real soon. Trying to get all that out early January. Solo EP, Cypher Dialect EP, all of that is coming. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're right here. boombapkingdom.com. And I'm going to leave you guys with a BBK salute. Peace.